Assalamualaikum to our respected lecturer, Encik Razik bin Abdul Samad. We are from CAAD 2471A and today we are going to present our presentation about roll film. Before we start, let me introduce our group members. First one is Aiman Daniel bin Hud Akhtar, Aiman Farhan bin Abu Razak, Muhammad Arif Hamizan bin Miskon, and myself, Nurul Naziha bin Kihuli. Now, let's begin our presentation about roll film. First thing first, what is roll film? Roll film, also known as photographic film, is a transparent film strip with a gelatin emulsion containing microscopically minuscule, light-sensitive silver halide crystals on one side. The sensitivity, contrast, and resolution of the film are determined by the sizes and other features of the crystals.
Alright, next is who invented roll film. He was the person that invented roll film is George Eastman. He was entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and the pioneer of popular photography and motion picture film. Born in 1854 in Water Village, New York. He was a passionate about photographer, and George Eastman announced that creation of a new type of film that came in roll in 1883. With the introduction of the first Kodak camera in 1888, the Kodak company was formed. It came preloaded with 100 exposure of film and was small enough to be carried and operated with one hand. Eastman launched roll film on a clear base in 1889 and it has remained the industry standard ever since. He recognized the company as the Eastman Kodak Company in 1892. He introduced the Brownies camera 8 years later, which was designed for youngster and sold for $1. After the film had been exposed, that's it. All 100 shots has been taken. The camera was returned to Kodak Rochester, New York, where the film was developed. Print were printed, and all new roll of photographic film was loaded into the new camera. Then the camera and print were returned to the consumer, and the cycle began all over again. Okay, next, Aiman Daniel will continue.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Aiman Daniel, and I wanted to share about the background of Kodak Company in the development of photography. So, in 1888, the company was founded at Rochester, New York by George Eastman and is still headquartered there today. The company is recognized for creating the technology that allowed Hollywood movies to be filmed and for creating a consumer market for amateur photography. The company also responsible for the introduction of digital photography and easy-to-shoot home movies. Let's take a look at Kodak's history and how the company plans to move forward in 21st century. The 20th century was a time in Kodak's history when its popularity and earnings increased. Everyone was enamored or keen with the thought of taking photos from 19,000 to 1930. Kodak made tremendous earnings, and on 18th July 1930, it was promptly admitted to the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, where it remained until 2004. Despite producing or developing the digital camera, the company did not commit enough efforts on digital photography and was quickly eclipsed by competitors such as Nikon and Canon. In 2005, Kodak was the top seller of digital cameras in the US, but by 2007 it had dropped to 4th place, and by 2010 it had dropped to 7th. After 74 years of production, in 2009, Kodak ended supplying 35mm color film due to massive financial losses caused by the development of digital photography. It has now restarted 35mm film production after selling off many of its assets to third parties. Next, I will pass to Arif Hamizan.
My name is Arif Hamizan and I'm going to talk about the contribution of Kodak company in the development of photography. Uh, First, it, it is bringing photography to the masses. George Eastman's discovery of roll film and the low-cost box camera were fundamental to his success in making photography a popular leisure pastime for the public. Eastman worked tirelessly to make photography as handy as the pencil throughout his life. Surprisingly, the film he started has been at the core of nearly every major milestone in photography and images since then. Kodak introduced the first commercial transparent roll film in 1889. In 1900, the Kodak Brownie camera brought photography within financial reach of consumers. The camera sold for $1 and film was 15 cents a roll. Next.
The next one is color. From the 1920s until the 1960s, the popularity of imaging rose quickly, and Kodak aided this growth by introducing color. Kodak Chrome film was the first commercially successful amateur color film when it was introduced in 1935. In 1936, formats for 35mm slides and 8mm home movies were added to the 16mm motion picture format. The world's first genuine color negative film was film for still photography. Kodak color film was announced in 1942. The long-running series of Kodak Colorama display transparencies introduced in 1950 was one unusual type of publicity. The 18-foot high by 60-foot wide screens, which overlooked the main terminal floor of Grand Central Station in New York City, were seen by an estimated 650,000 commuters and tourists every business day until they were closed as part of Grand Central's reconstruction in 1989. Many of the striking pictures on show have been widely covered in newspapers and magazines throughout the years.
Next, Kodak also contributed to digital photography. Kodak created the world's first digital camera in 1975 and first practical megapixel charge-coupled device image sensor in 1986, ushering in the digital age. This paved the way for further advancement. The Kodak Create, a print 35mm enlargement center introduced in 1988, was an early retail kiosk that allowed customers to crop and print their own enlargements in a matter of minutes. In 1991, Kodak released the Kodak Professional Digital Camera System, a Nikon F3 camera with a 1.3 megapixel sensor for photojournalists. In 1995, Kodak released the DC40 point-and-shoot digital camera for customers. 6 years later, the business released the Kodak EasyShare system, a range of digital cameras and docking system that made digital photography more user-friendly. So that is all from our group. Thank you very much.